In a world where discrimination, marginalization, and conflict seem to be an unending episode, seeking to focus on common experiences and values instead of differences is imperative. And I believe this is what has kept myself and my housemate in peace these last 7 months, especially during COVID-19 lockdown. Together, in this episode, we explore some shared experiences as we grew up in Africa.
Hi, I am Father Abraham, and spreading light is my legacy. Welcome to Re-Spectrum. Together, we gain clarity and the resolve to live with purpose. Blessings. We're going to be having a great time today. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Welcome to the 5th episode of Re-Spectrum. My name is Abraham Ologundudu, and in case you don't know me, I am a social change leader in my 20s, using the power of digital media and communications to drive innovation and transformational leadership across communities. First in Africa, then in the world. I'm a global person. On this show, I explore different themes from my leadership experiences to educate and inspire young people globally. Thank you for allowing me into your space. I am very loyal. I'm so loyal to you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in every time you tune in. And if you're new, thank you for becoming my friend. My heart goes out to you. I can be playful. So based on my experiences and my leadership journey so far, my work has given me the privilege to connect with many great minds globally, especially a lot of young, brilliant change makers. And one thing that has become very hard to ignore is when I connect with Africans. And that is how very similar our culture and societies are in several contexts. It's one thing to watch on TV, and it's another thing to experience it firsthand, to see it closely. For example, I have seen how some parts of Cameroon have similarities to, let's say, the Igbo tribe in Nigeria, just to simplify things. I know the Igbo tribe is very, very diverse, but just to simplify things. I have also seen similarities between places in Sierra Leone, Ghana, the Gambia, with some tribes and regions in Nigeria. So put the icing on the cake. In the last 7 months of my study in the UK, I share a flat with 3 other Africans. Well, now there are 2. Ethiopian flatmate traveled back to Ethiopia because of the pandemic. See, I'm saying Nigeria. I guess I miss home. I miss home. Therefore, in today's episode, my housemates, Tony and CJ, will join me to explore some key experiences from our childhood that we found very similar and just discuss the implications of all these experiences on our lives right now and how it has also influenced our current paradigm to life. And basically just general discussion about how we grew up and what's it like and what's we're doing currently and what probably we'll do differently in our future. Please enjoy this. Let me know what you think later in the comment section.
But I have CJ and I have Tony. I don't want to pronounce your surname because it's going to twist my tongue. CJ and Tony, welcome to Re-Spectrum. All my fans are going to be excited to hear about you.
They've been waiting for us patiently.
This is the episode I never spoke to you about, but you always anticipated.
We've just been waiting in our rooms, waiting for the green light. Now we've had
a lot of things we want to talk about today. It feels like everything just collided. It's like everything just collided today. We'll be exploring themes on black tax. Our African parents probably don't show compassion, not like all African parents. Let's say most African parents, the most experience we are used to is African parents not showing their compassion or so-called their emotions. And also just to explore a bit on
Yeah, is it great?
Our parents kind of compare us, and they are so like academic driven, and very, very interesting religious things they do to us too. Hallelujah. So CJ, Tony, who's gonna go first? Tell us about yourself. The mic is yours. Jump on the mic.
Of course, I represent Zambia. My name is CJ. Long name is Chimutalandre Lewenje.
Can you sit down?
Yeah, I know audience is gonna find it hard, but it's Chimutalandre Lewenje, CHIMUTALANJE. I got you.
Guys, don't want to fail an exam. Just stick to CJ.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in an exam right now, but it's okay. I got this. I'm studying, doing my PhD in accounting, and yeah, thank you for having me.
Actually, CJ is 23, right?
Yeah,
And he's doing his PhD. I feel like an old man.
And my mom is still not proud enough yet. So we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later.
Really? Wow, that's something I want to explore. Yeah, Tony.
Hi. All the way from Zimbabwe, Tinashe Tony Chikafa. I'm doing my master's.
His name sounds like a Nigerian food, Tuwo Shikafa.
Hey, you guys. I don't. No pun intended. I don't want to be a Nigerian. Leave me alone.
You want to be a Nigerian food?
Nigerian?
No.
That's you'll be a popular dude.
No.
If you're a Nigerian food.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, you Nigerians love your food. Anyways, I'm from Zimbabwe and I'm doing my Master of Arts in Conflict, Security and Development. One of those very tall housemates of Abraham's.
Very annoying housemate with a melon head. I'm gonna cut that out.
This guy, I swear, when I become someone influential, I'll just cut off ties with Nigeria altogether. He's been terrorizing me.
I know. Yeah, thank you guys for coming on board, Tony and CJ's. There is no formal direction to this, but I just like to pick up from when we were in the kitchen this night, and I don't know how we got into the discussion. It's funny how one thing is another thing, just from duvet.
Listen, as we go from duvet to stains to a mother's love.
Yeah. No, but you started it because we're like black magic, and then it just switched.
There's no way I would have correlated black magic and love. Like it just went from washing machine, vanisher, duvet.
To talking about the lack of.
I love this is one thing I think I will always go back home with and will live for the rest of my life because
coming from Tony. Guys, this is gold.
Behave yourself. I'm stingy about my words and expressions and emotions.
Typical African father.
Excuse me. So basically what I've learned over the years is, rather over the past few months, is how we, just from nowhere, from the thick of nowhere, we just get to discuss anything, and we demystify the whole idea like it's something that we can easily talk about. But then when you look at it, when we're back home, some of the issues that we have had to deconstruct here as students living alone, an independent life, have been really, eye-opening, and those are the experiences that I feel like we need, for society to really now, evolve and really get to
John
talk
is spitting deep stuff here.
Poetry snaps.
So you're saying?
So I'm just saying that, we started this podcast just came from the blue. We didn't plan for it, and it's the things that we don't plan for, but then we get to really understand what life is, because at times we really want to look for a textbook definition of achieving things in life, of how to live life, how to be successful. And growing up, as I'm actually one of those people who was raised up in a very strict household. I was raised by an uncle, unfortunately, when my parents passed on. I mean, the guy loved me and still loves me, and I do love him, and I really appreciate for everything that he did. But you'd find that as much as everything that he taught us,
give you a tissue.
as much as you look at the things that he taught us whilst growing up, yes, they were fundamental and they shaped our lives. But I feel like because we were following this is what our parents says, and this is righteous and sacrosanct, you don't go against it. But then as you get to come into a new society and start exploring and deconstructing what you have been taught and trying to assimilate you'll find that at times you won't fit, but then you'd have to now craft around that society for you to fit in.
Yeah.
And you then find that at times some of the things that us as Africans, as much as we say, yeah, we want to be, unique, we want to be ourselves, we want to identify ourselves and not like lose our dignity or, experiences or whatever.
Identity. Yeah.
They are actually limiting us. You were talking of how we need to like talk about black tax, how we talk about grades. I mean, I was one of those people who failure for me was very hard. Like I didn't do very well like growing up after my parents died. And I remember this very incident when I was like 6. I failed in my second term because like in Zimbabwe we have 3 terms, first term, second term and third term. Second term, you'd write exams and get a report for that. So when I got my report, I was a number 12 and my 12 was in red like I had failed.
How many were in class total?
I can't even remember. I think not 12. Wait yourself. And we were like, I think we were around 20 or 30 or 40.
Was it a private school?
No, it was a government school.
I was 150 in my class.
Jesus.
150. It's 150. Yes.
No, like for Zim, we're like, I think maximum was like 35 to 40.
That's how current Nigerian public schools
20.
are.
Yeah.
You guys were living. That's a private school in Nigeria. Really? 20?
Yeah, so I remember the third term, like, I was drilled math, spelling and stuff, and went back third term, got overall grade. So I aced the whole class and the whole grade, and I got a prize for it. The next year my mom would die, and maybe that affected me. And grade 7, when I was supposed to have an exam from primary to secondary, I did well, but I wasn't so good. I dropped down in mathematics. When I went to secondary, it was the same. Mathematics were not good for me. And I started to hear these comments like whenever you come back home without having, not like if you're doing 8 subjects and you come back home with 3 subjects out of 8, there'll be like comments like, do you remember that time when you topped the class in the grade? And already they don't want to rebuke you, but then they're telling you in a very nice way that you need to up your game. And I was so scared all the time that we had exams because I'd be like, hey, if I flunk, I'm in trouble. Yes, I may not get a flogging, but the constant reminders of my past.
And you have to meet up to certain expectations and standards.
Was so much that when I eventually went to university, I was this very locked up person. I killed my social life. I became so bookish and nerd that I didn't go out. When others went for drinks or even a social, gathering, I wouldn't go because I would be like, I am supposed to focus. And yes, I broke records academically. For me, failure was not an option, and I had to ace everything for them not to remind
so would
me.
you like us to deconstruct that? Be like, do you guys think most of us kind of grew up with this mindset that we needed to perform, and so just get our parents' good side? We always constantly trying to get them
to please them. Yes.
Yeah. What do you want to say about that, CJ? Yeah.
I think generally throughout education, I think it's not even so much about what you get, but getting the validation from your parents itself.
Yeah,
exactly.
And so whenever you do get, let's say, you do well in class, it's always, what did your friends get? What did your friends do?
Exactly. There's that comparison.
Yeah. And I could literally be the top of my class, top 5, they'll be like, why aren't you number 1?
Exactly.
I could cure cancer, they'd be like, what's next?
There's always the next thing.
There's always a next step.
I think, they're supreme, the goal is you go to the sun, grab the sun and bring it back. Even if you went to the moon and brought it back to them, they'd always want you to conquer more things in life. And I remember the last time that comment was made was when I had more than 7 distinctions. That's when it stopped. And then you'd always get this reminder
you can't fall short of that standard. There's no room for.
And they would never do that. They would be like, yeah, you still need to get those that you didn't get. Because that time I had 9 modules and I aced 7 straight up, and the others were merits, and the other 7 were distinctions. From 9 I have 7 distinctions, and you still tell me that you could have gotten all of them. for the next term, it was actually harder and it would put more stress on me. As much as I came back home the next semester with everything, the last semester at school when I had to do my dissertation and stuff was like, yeah, you need to get them all as well. I didn't need to be reminded. I had to say, this is the goal that's needed. I need to get everything. And when I eventually got it, they were like, yeah, congratulations. Maybe you're expecting, these more comforting words like, yeah, congratulations, you have done good for your own self. And you have made us proud. We love you. Those words don't come out. You're like, yeah, that's very good. We are very proud. And it only took my graduation to be told, I love you.
Oh, I'm still working on mine.
You'll be so shocked and ask yourself, did the guy just say that? Because you grew up knowing that the big man is a strict person. He doesn't want nonsense. You need to be, punctual. You need to be smart. Your things need to be perfect. You become a perfectionist. Your tie, the way you wear your shoes, the way you dress up, everything has to be a par. For him, there's no room for error. I remember, because I'm right-handed, he taught us to use our right hands. When you are doing laundry, at times I can't use my right hand. In fact, my right hand cannot be able to hold a bar of soap. I have to use my left hand. That's it. That's how nature made me.
Yeah.
If the guy
trusted you to cut my hair today.
If the guy saw me,
You've told me this before.
if the guy saw me using my left hand holding that, so it would be a problem. So
I think it's similar to Nigeria. When someone is a lefty, he's always most likely trained to use the right. Many factors surround that. One, you feel like, okay, right hand means that you're respectful. If you hand over something to an elderly person with your right hand, you cannot use your left hand. I don't know why they suddenly discriminate the left hand.
Exactly. And
so that's something, that's the pattern. But before we extrapolate more on love, I want to mention something about grades and performances. I feel like growing up is my parents are grown up now. They're kind of changing. They're learning new things. I can always admit that, but I will not take away the fact that I felt like a CV to my parents. Primarily my dad. My mom was kind of relaxed. It was about, okay, when it does good, we treat him good. We tell everybody in church or his friends, oh, he got a very good grade. He got this good thing. When I'm not doing well, probably because I'm a child, we're not just perfect, you mess up sometimes. And you feel during the time you get attention is when things are going well. So I probably felt like a CV, something that my dad wanted to show off about, but there was not really any close connection. It's just about what I bring to the table. I don't know if that makes sense.
Exactly. It's like a transaction between education and just giving your grades in. It's like you get your education, you hand it to your mom, she says, okay, well done, go on to the next stage.
Yeah.
And it's there's no interlink between being proud, being affectionate for the achievements that you do.
Yeah.
And moving on to that next stage.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting to.
Do you think that, what effect do you think that might have had on you as a person growing up? Your sense of self, your sense of how the world works. Most likely, I ended up treating many as a transaction for a long time. So when I have friends, it's more like, what's in it for me? When I meet someone else in the particular community, if I don't feel like they fit into what I think is valuable to me, I don't see any other thing valuable in them. So I guess for a while I grew up having this transactional mindset about relationship, because that was the only thing I grew up about, knowing that it's give and take. If this person doesn't give me something that I feel is valuable to me, or this person is not showing me attention, then I need to move away with someone else who will show me attention. I think over that I had to learn that regardless of how people are different, everyone has something unique. Regardless of value that they have, you might not recognize it, but never downplay the importance of anyone in your life. But prior to, let's say, about 7 years ago, but I had that mindset of being transactional, and it influenced a lot of things that I would have been doing that probably I feel like, okay, if I knew better, I wouldn't have done those things. But I don't know if I should blame myself. But yeah, that's how I feel about it's not just about our parents, it's about what we learn from them and how we translate that into the world.
No, definitely. I mean, I can attest to that with my degree. So basically, I started my degree with psychology. So my bachelor's is in psychology, and this is something I was really passionate about and happy to do. First thing that happened was, are you sure you want to do this degree? Like, how's it going to affect you in the future? How are you going to get jobs? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. But I liked it, I enjoyed it. But even after graduating in my bachelor's, I still felt unaccomplished in their eyes.
How many years? That's 4?
3 years.
3 years,
in the UK.
okay.
But yeah, I still felt like I could do better.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was something in me that's saying I can do better,
Better.
because they see that I can do
better.
better.
Yeah.
So I did my master's in financial management, and I started seeing that validation from them. Like, okay, you're doing something practical. You see, quotes practical now.
Yeah.
And now I'm coming up to do my PhD in accounting, and then I'm realizing I'm finding what I like in getting that validation.
Yeah.
So even though it brought me to this point because I felt like I had to take these routes, I've come to find interest in what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
But not because of trying to find validation in them, but actually trying to pave my own kind of pathway.
And that's something really very powerful, like knowing that, okay, regardless of what life or circumstances throw at you, how can you reshape and re-engineer situations?
Exactly.
So mine was trying to get into medicine. I knew I wanted to study medicine, right? But when I think about it now, I knew I was open to helping people. I always known that I wanted something that with people change. I don't know how to explain, but as a young person, I knew that's what I wanted to do. So the only direct translation was being a doctor, because that was a profession that was profitable.
On the checklist.
And the checklist, okay,
Lawyer,
so
doctor, engineer.
Something that they would approve.
that we have proof of. And looking back now, I feel like there were options of things I could have done, but I went on that path, tried getting to medical school, but for some reasons I didn't get to medical school. I didn't meet up with many of the academic requirements. And I got an option in physics and education because my physics courses were more like places I excelled the most. So I ended up finding myself studying education and physics from medicine. Weird. But I just thought it to myself in my first year, because I found blogging. I already found expression of what I was trying to do. So I felt like, okay, since I'm already doing something that I feel like, I don't know what it's going to look like in the future, but this is interesting. I want to explore media and blogging and just telling stories and creating content. And I decided to stay in that course and just create a new path for myself. Okay, what can I take from education, from psychology classes, from history classes, from development classes? What can I take from physics and nature and all those things? And it fits into my interest. And that's where I am today. I didn't think I wanted to go back to do medicine, but I said, okay, what I have with me right now, what can I make out of it? Okay, regardless of where I found myself, regardless of the process that led me here, whether willingly or not, but can I take something out of this and build it something useful to myself?
I think that's a very powerful revelation.
Revelation of the ladies.
The funny thing is, I think you and I have a similar background in terms of like, we have always had, like, you grew up with a passion that you so much want to do, and because of circumstance at times, and because of that approval as well, you tend to, I think there is an art to it, like having to do what you desire and please their expectations as well. So for me, it was, from a tender age, I always wanted to fly or do anything with sacrificing for other people. So for me, options that were there for me was either I'd become a pilot or I'd become a soldier.
When you become a pilot, you're just sacrificing. You're attracting ladies. All the air hostess, Captain Tony,
Captain Chikafa.
You're not sacrificing anything.
So for me, I really grew up, I think it was something he identified, and to him, he also approved of it because he understood that obviously there would come a social status ascribed to it, and he'd be proud of it himself. But then you'd find that I was not good with mathematics. I hated math, but I was so good with humanities. Even in primary school, I was good at history. So as time went on, and I could find reasons for me not. Or rather, reasons came that I couldn't, do what I wanted to. For example, my eyesight got poor as early as 13 years. So by 13, I was already wearing glasses.
At 13?
Yeah, 13, I was wearing glasses.
Many younger persons, my glasses was due to TV. I was always in front watching Tom and Jerry and Pokemon Go.
So
Power Rangers.
You find that, like, from 12, that's a tender age for one to say this is my career, but I had made my mind. It's either the army or the air force, being a pilot, and that was it, because I wanted to aim for the sky. Because you have grown for the past 6 years being told that you once did this, why can't you? So for me, it was like, okay, this would be the zenith of my career. They won't have to ask me or remind me again of me being a success. So what happens is, here I am, I'm given the option that I would never fly because of other health conditions as well. Here I am, I have something that I'm good at and something that they identify me with already. He's bookish. And me, because I loved history, I said, fine, I can do politics, I can do security studies with this. I can still reach my goal of wearing that military uniform and at the same time please them because I'll be an educated military person. So in that regard, I got their support. If I wanted something to read, even if it's military, they would sacrifice to get me that reading.
Yeah.
If I wanted to go to an air show, they'd give me that chance to go to that air show because for them, they had approved of it. But then at times you'd find that I'd ask myself, it's only actually after I've gone to university that I started asking myself, like, what if I had actually explored other avenues rather than the ones that I'm doing? I could have succeeded. But because they identified something I liked, but at the same time still wanted me to achieve. So at times I feel like I didn't do what I did because I wanted to, but I did it because it was the option that was there and it was something that my parents would approve of.
This is a very, very interesting power dynamics. Like, I feel like when we're young, we feel like parents were demons. They don't love me. You're not my mom. Did you give birth to me? But thinking about now, we're kind of woke. Even woke is already getting outdated as a word. But now we're kind of much more aware, socially aware, and realize that they're not demons. We cannot demonize them. They were just really trying to negotiate existing societal structures like capitalism or that post-independence for like Nigeria, post-colonial era of how you need to like struggle to rise up the social strata. And so those are things that inform their mindset that, okay, I might not have gotten these opportunities, but this is what's available right now. Education is there. You can actually make things do for yourself. I might not have been so smart to realize that, but I wanted to get these things done. They have like positive intentions, but in the end, it's like they're trying to achieve their dreams through us, but also they want us to also make something good out of ourselves. So it's like a dual intention.
It's dual, but then the thing is, it's so painful because, for my example, I wanted to do war studies, right? And when I wanted to do war studies, my age wouldn't allow me to do war studies. So now, that time, like the only university that was offering war studies had an age restriction on the program.
Of 75.
No, not.
That's a classic. This is veterans because
it was the University of Zimbabwe, I think, and that time they wanted people to study war studies at the minimum age of 25. So I was 23.
That's 25. Didn't query prime minister.
So. It was really hard for me to like, now I have to divert to a degree at another university and now, fine, history and international studies. Okay, fine, because I love history. But to them as well, they were happy because they didn't want me to like solely do something to do with the military. And when I finished my first degree and say, now masters, I can do what I want. I want to do strategic studies. I want to do military studies. Everyone was like, what will you do with it? What will you do with military strategy? And but for me, that was my passion. So as much as I find a place in the United Kingdom that's offering a master's degree and it's offering me at least one option of what I missed in undergrad, I had to take it because I'm like, okay, fine. I have to concede and say, you don't want me to do this because you feel like, because your parents, you say that you have wisdom, more than I do. I have to concede now and say, fine, I'm doing this because I want to. But then, you see this influence coming again in our lives, even if after we have come off that age of legal, majority to do what you want, you still have to like go in line with what your parents have to say. It will always overspew even into marriage. You now have to think, okay, what kind of or what type of a person am I supposed to look for that will find approval in the eyes of my parents. You find these, these post-colonial exposés, as you were saying, you start thinking that, why? What if I'm attracted to a Caucasian? But then society...
That's another discussion.
Society, what are they going to say? The moment I say, I fell in love with...
Honestly, even some of my so-called friends are like, Abraham, don't come home with a white Oyibo Chico. I'm like, what?
Exactly. So you find that last week, actually a few days ago, one of my church elders just texted me and we started talking.
None of you what?
One of my church elders.
Oh.
Yeah.
And he's like, you need to finish up. Me, your other cousin, and your other church elders, will sit down and we'll find you a suitor. And I'm like, what if I've already gotten a suitor? By the way, I actually have a suitor, and she's not even there. And the moment I say that,
We need a whole other podcast.
the moment I say that,
Suitor, that's exciting.
the moment I say that, as much as we were joking, they were like, "Whoa, that's over our dead bodies.
What?
We will find you someone." And it just shows you how our society is that conservative that even the women we marry,
You won't
they have to
conservative is
please.
problematic, honestly.
They really have to please like society. As much as it was, it was just banter, we were just laughing.
Yeah.
But it goes to show you that
That is underlying expectations that are hanging
society
around.
also expects a particular contribution from us about the partners that we bring into our society. Like in my society, there's that proverb that says it takes a whole village to raise a child.
Yeah.
You not only listen or accomplish expectations for your family, but also for the society as a whole. So for them, they're using a functionalist perspective of life. So your family is part and parcel of a body. So if it dysfunctions, the whole society does the same. So if you bring us this external person, you have poisoned the whole society. Because they don't know our culture. They don't. How are they going to behave in our funeral rites?
Yeah.
How are they going to
It's
behave
about preservation of what's
of
ours.
that culture? So you find that it's so painful because at times we are made rather to stay with people that we didn't want to, but because we have had to, these parameters that have been put on us do not leave us as we age, but rather become more restrictive as we age instead of
You
freeing
actually
us.
find these similarities in many other cultures. Like probably I see the movies, but I would like to see that they're kind of true. Whether it's Latin America, even the Asian culture, even like
Especially Asia as
African American
well.
culture. There's always this strata system that influences everything from love to even the word love. Sometimes that's this conditional because you're looking at what would this person bring to the table?
Exactly.
Like
Is
there's
she
so many
contributing
power.
anything?
Yes.
And there are these power relations, as you were saying earlier on. Like, I hold a master's degree.
Yeah.
Bride prices high.
And- and already
5 strokes of yam.
and already like I'm seeing myself and I visualize myself and saying in the next 5 years I want to get a PhD. I should be a doctor. By the time I reach 31, I'm 28. I'm turning 28 in a few weeks. And by the time I turn 31, I want to be called Dr. Tony. And I'm saying, fine. I expect or endeavor to become either diplomat by that time.
Yeah.
And you have these aspirations that you say, I want to break the ceilings here, I want to break the ceilings there.
Yeah.
So already my society will be saying, hey,
my grandpa's already
the guy needs to also have a wife, especially this one. For me, like because I'm one person who is quite, I have this obsessive disorder for order.
Yeah.
So already when I'm back home, people are like, you're going to trouble your wife, you're going to neg your wife because you always want everything to be in order.
Yeah.
So already for them, they're looking in their eyes, they are visualizing this picture perfect lady that has to understand my every move and has to be at the same intellectual level as me for her to be like suit me.
Yeah, compatible with you.
So for me to get someone of that lesser educational qualification, it's shunned.
True.
Even then.
It's now, we're
You're
quantified.
just like, why haven't you found a wife? For the past 18 years, you've been saying education.
Now you want
Where was I supposed to find my wife?
Exactly.
I want my grandchildren.
That's the other factor as well.
See,
You are single.
look at the irony of that. Like you tell me, read your books, read your books.
Where's your wife? Where's my grandchildren?
Where's the wife?
Yeah.
I'm like, what exactly
What do you want from me?
I spent the past 27 years getting an education, and then now you expect me to say, don't you see that you're getting older? By the time you get that, so you should have a serious relationship. And I'm like, you turned me into a nerd. I'm now trying to rediscover life. and socialize.
It's like saying when you finish a degree, a woman will enter your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? The perception that we have as well as children, we're like, okay, so they're saying I shouldn't date, I shouldn't do this because it wastes my time. So it automatically means that by the time that I finish my degree, you know, I will be a magnet for women. They will just
Exactly.
They just come.
Well, it's my work for the ladies, but it doesn't work for dudes.
They were like,
So you know, it's a real puzzle because it's so hard because now exactly as you're saying, as CJ is saying, you know, I've been doing all this time my education, and now I have to juggle between having to find a relationship, and at times it stresses. They don't look at the emotional burden they put on us because I'm trying to love someone, but I'm also trying to love someone that you approve of.
You approve of.
And at the same time, you want me to succeed. Well, I'll tell you from my own upbringing, I would always be told that never take a wife decrease the standard of living that they have been living whilst they were at their house. So already, what that meant was like, they're just telling me to up my game.
Definitely, if someone comes to your life, you should be like,
you should
amplify it.
elevate it.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, they don't also now not consider that I'm still trying to reach that apex where I'm able to like be able to take care of that partner myself.
Responsible in other.
Then at the same time, they also expect me to pay back. That's the challenge.
Pay back.
Because
so it's like from our childhood to when we die, there's already these predefined expectations.
We have a bill
at every strata.
You have to get education. So-called education now is Western education, like Western Europe, all those normal kind of education. Well, there's a lot of positive side to those things, but it's better to go through that, excel, get a good career in these so-called cliche careers. Then finish from university in Nigeria, go for national service, come back and get a good job, get married, have a child, then probably start tending for your younger ones and grow old and just keep growing old, more children, and just die. It's like a very boring life.
It's like a cycle.
It's like a cycle.
In a factory.
It's like a factory.
I think
put into the system. You need to like give us an output.
Yeah.
Exactly. We need to get we need to reap the fruit of our labor.
Exactly.
No. Honestly, our parents need to like they've done their best and they need to take care of them, no doubt. But just that the way it's structured, somebody has a lot of pressure it puts on you.
Yeah.
And sometimes even you're still trying to figure out your life, and many times you crash on the way.
Yeah. I do agree with you. Like I'm one person who is very grateful because I was raised as an orphan, right? And I feel like I know, even, you know, being a practicing Christian, I'm told to honor my mother and my father for me to have more days on this earth. The thing is, already at this stage, I'm still in school, but already I have plans to say, okay, I need to do this for my uncles, and I need to do this for my aunts and the brothers and cousins that were there for me, right? But then the painful thing about our culture is that it doesn't reward or allow us to reward or pay back the people that really owe us, but rather it like collects and groups everything into one, you know, plate and say, the people that contributed nothing, you give them something. The people that gave you a lot and sacrificed a lot for your life, you end up giving them little. Why? Because these ones that didn't contribute much in your life, you find that they are the ones that are always overbearing and always claiming that, remember, we are your uncles. Remember, we are your, and we are your actual blood. You know. Yeah. So you find that you have relatives from your dad's side or relatives from your mother's side, and at times the others, those who have like really taken care of you, end up suffering because you are scared of, you know, being on the wrong side of those that are coming and giving you these threats at you, like, you know, you just because you have now been educated. And you know, with us being Africans, there's this, you know, traditional side of society that, you know, people can invoke dead spirits to seek vengeance, and they'll be like, you know, we can just go and tell your father.
It's called Smokbo.
And then it's also in Nigeria, you know, they'll be like, you know, these guys can just bring misfortune on you because they you know, if you don't,
they call them 3 times and that's it.
So yeah, you know, all this pressure is just exerted on one person, and what happens is the next thing that happens is they're gonna have a mental breakdown and you have a burnout. And I've seen people that like do at times, I used to like wonder why, like, growing up in a high density suburb, people would have grown up as well with like a similar background like mine. What they just do is, the moment they become successful, instead of them like buying a house in the same scenery, they just move away and take those key persons that were really influential.
That's what you really see happening a lot of times.
And just distance themselves from that setup because it's so overbearing. I remember this other day. Already I know that I'm supposed to, like, with the stipend that I have and with the hours that I might want to work after I finish my studies, I need to have at least a token of appreciation for my parents, right? And those very close people that did something for me whilst I was growing up. But you find that all your friends from varsity, all your friends from primary school, all those childhood friends, all those aunts, distant aunts, everyone wants a t-shirt, everyone wants a pair of stocks. But then you're like...
Let me tell you the truth, like, going back to Nigeria, even going back, like, everybody expecting to come with something.
Yeah, they were like, did you want a Manchester United jersey?
My younger brother said he wants a Nike shoe. I'm like, I'm never wearing a Nike shoe.
Listen, do they know that we came with the same money we left with? Like, we don't automatically become rich when we drop into the
We just come to the UK and have like a bag of money in your room.
So, I remember my cousin the other time. I was laughing and I was like, imagine I met this other person, like this gentleman from the society, and he was like, give me some money for a cigarette. And I'm like, I've just finished school. And he was like, you have a degree. What kind of a person with a degree are you that you can't even buy me a cigarette?
Look at that entitlement cigarettes.
You just burst into a laughter and he was like, there's this perception from society that whenever they think that a person, whenever they complete a bachelor's degree, they use some cachet, especially when you are like not successful in education.
The Queen still was just delivers money to houses from the Queen, the Royal Majesty. Have this £1,000.
You have achieved your degree, so this is a token for appreciation. Get this £500 so you can hand out some £5 notes to random people who just like, can you buy me a drink because you've graduated? So it's those things that society.
Do you buy me a drink?
Society.
You know when I was struggling to write my essays, when I had panic attacks.
Jesus.
I've had I think you can all agree. We came here like we have had the toughest luck.
Honestly, COVID-19, Corona.
We're covering a pandemic, and we're supposed to be like trying to work or trying to do something on the side or trying to explore. But we have been so constrained because of this, and you now have to juggle between your mental health about thinking of people back home if they're safe. What if they're lying? Maybe they just say,
and I don't want you to know about it.
Exactly.
So then you also have to contemplate your own, you have this just random cough, maybe you just have some phlegm and already you're diagnosing. And you're looking at friends, you're distant from your friends, you're looking at this new curricula you have now to start and understand. So
it's quite an unprecedented time.
We have had these constraints, and the next thing that when this thing is over, and you have to go back home and say asante sana, thank you for everything, I'm back. The very same people like we were talking about, those who want a pack of cigarettes, a calabash of beer, or for traditional beer, that random friend who wants a Manchester United t-shirt, or that other nephew who wants you to buy him Nike sneakers when you're actually going into Primark and buying the cheapest shoe. For them, because they think that emigrating or transporting yourself to the other side is actually an up on your social standing. It's not.
It's just you in a different country.
Honestly,
to some extent, yes, because you are moving to a new region.
It's true. Definitely, infrastructure is better.
Yes,
amenities are better.
Exactly.
Something you don't think about.
Civilization It's different.
That's problematic also. I'm an anthropologist, so civilization is kind of something. Don't mind me. But I get the fact that, okay, there are a lot of things working down where we're coming from.
Yeah.
I can't remember last time I was in the traffic. Like, in the last 8 months, that's like,
please. Trust me,
please.
In Zim we used to have those, yeah. And
so
you
definitely, there are a lot of upside to,
exactly. So, yeah, for them, they think like, and I think we should re-emphasize this point, like, people should never misconcept this one idea of thinking that life is better this side. Fine, yeah, it is better to some extent, but then...
In reality, there are always pros and cons everywhere.
Of course.
I won't tell you that I'm a very emotional person, but I never show it. But for me, it was really hard for me to walk into Brighton and find someone. I don't want to use that word, a homeless person or a vagrant. I don't want to use those words. For me, they are just demeaning. To find someone who didn't have shelter and ask me for change. Those are the pictures that, when you grow up, your education system tells you that it's for us Africans. And when you come here and see that this same society has also people who have been unfortunate.
Even during the COVID-19, I took a walk to North Street, I saw someone who was literally, that same guy is always in front of Poundland around.
Yeah.
He still had his time with his dog. And I'm like,
exactly, yeah, I remember that person.
I thought they have like Brighton and Ofcom Council. Like, what do they do for homeless?
They don't have anything.
They don't to the homeless.
To take care of their own people.
So
wow,
you see, you have this. You think that these are the problems that Africa has.
Yeah.
But then you find them here, and the moment that you say, you know what, you guys. These guys actually have the same problem. People are like in disbelief because they think that this is like the picture perfect society.
Yeah.
So for them, when they see us coming this side, they think that we have made it in life. We'll be like singing that South African song like "Mama I made it, Mama I made it." But it's not that. It was really hard for me. Like, I'm a Salvationist.
Yeah.
And the Salvation Army does charity.
Yeah.
You get into church, like back home, very few people like come, and find that help that the Salvation Army gives. And the moment I walk into church this side, you find that the churches are full of people who are, unfortunate to not have a house to stay and have a meal. And to them, the church is a heaven because they will find clothing, they will find literature to read whilst, they brave the cold. They will find maybe a spare blanket. And
they find a friend.
And a meal. Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, it was really an experience where I was like, wow, I think we really need, when I really go back home, I think we should become missionaries to really help out people who have less
less
disadvantages,
opportunities.
less opportunities. A little gesture will do a very great difference. Imagine a person just comes in and drops a book they have read, maybe they haven't read for the past 5 years. This person sees it as a treasure.
You can actually transform that person's life.
It really. So those are the experiences that I feel like.
So I'm thinking like we've explored. We could actually give experiences and examples ongoing. There are things I wanted to talk about. I feel like we've outdone our time, but let's see how we can draw a link. We're gonna give our thoughts. So we definitely know that fundamentally our parents are not like trying to like turn us into a cold-blooded
monsters.
And everything they did was informed by their experiences and how they grew up. Some of them didn't have someone to teach them how to parent. My dad grew up selling maize. It's called pap. It's made out of maize. So he basically hawked that maize pap all through his childhood to send them to school. So most likely he has earned money out of strife. So he wouldn't want to like give money when he knows that he won't
easily
get a return on investment on that money. So there are a lot of things they're doing are informed by their experience and their struggles. Some of them have seen wars, some of them have experienced civil war. There are a lot of abuse. They've seen a lot of things that has informed their view about the life.
Yeah.
They've seen that their parents were victims of probably slavery during the colonial era. Different kind of oppression and power dynamics there. And so they're like, I want my children to have a better life and probably at whatever cost I can to make sure they get it.
Yes. And they have to learn these lessons.
They have to learn these lessons. So we need to be compassionate and have that empathy to know, this is probably something that's in their hearts, and they're trying to like make sure they paint a very good picture to why you should get it straight. So we understand that. We also understand that it also has like adverse effects. So how do I see ourselves as frontliners for the future, and We're going to be shaping ideas in different spaces. I definitely know I'm going to be shaping ideas in different places. You have career aspirations that you might be influential in the future. You're going to be a parent if you want to get married, or even though you want to get married, you might not want to be a parent. You have a choice anyway. But you're going to be in a situation where you will be like a mentor, like a front runner to many young people. So how do we place a balance between expectations of society, still being there for our family, and still really living life for ourselves, not for other people, and still being able to grow with compassion and leave a legacy for the younger generation? How do we balance this idea our parents had with what we think could be done better? I think it's a very, very broad question, but what's your takeaway? What do you think can change? What do you think? Why the silence?
No, let's finish your sentence.
This is a question. It's a very loaded, fundamental question.
Okay, take the personality. If it was you, what do you think you would do better with the experience you've had with the parents and what idea you have about the world now? What do you think? How do you think you can merge it to and create something different for yourself?
I think for me is the way like our parents express emotions. I feel like a lot of us have had to like.
How can we forget the Zimbabwe guy that flogged his child?
No, it's Zambian guy.
Zambian father.
Zimbabwe. George. I will not forget that.
When you say emotion, I just remember those spanks.
I just remember the slap. I felt the slaps when I was watching it. Jesus.
Yeah. So I feel like, there's a lot that I think our parents need to like do, or rather us as the new generation of parents, that we really need to like understand that words have meaning and that there are always other options for like, discipline and encouragement. I don't feel like this comparative analysis of...
That sounds like economics. Even when you have a good grade, they will ask what percentage do you have? What's your fair percentage?
And,
this where is the 2%? Where's the other 2%?
Because that guy actually got everything. I remember you've just made me remember this at the time. We were in uni and my uncle's friends had like aced his exam and they were like, he's really doing pretty well at the university. So in other ways, they're just telling you to like up your game, you're doing nothing,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in a situation where you're having a good time with your life and
then your parents just say, hey, guess what?
Hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Your friend Michael wouldn't be doing this. He would be studying.
He just read your day.
So, it really is to like...
You're working on eggshells in your hand. It's right, you're like...
It worked me up. It really worked me. Because I was like, hi, I can't wait for this guy to graduate and just go. Because each year he's spending at uni and me being a junior, I'm now being made to like walk in his shoes because he's always saying, you are so happy and you are showing me his results. Yeah, distinctions, eh? Distinctions. I'm looking at my line of 2 1s. I'm like, God, come on. Why is this guy giving me a hard time? So I feel like we are the next generation. In fact, we are the generation that I feel like has to change a lot. And we really need to understand that our children need to be loved. We need to show it and we need to say it. I don't need to do something special to be told that I love you.
She's all the foundation now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't want my daughter to first receive a bouquet of flowers from her boyfriend. No. I should be able to say on Valentine's Day,
you're my love of my life.
You're the love of my life. I always adored how
husband material.
I always adored how my cousin would tell me that he has a very sweet 2-year-old daughter turning 3 in June, and he'd always say, I need to buy Taylor this, I need to buy her this, because I don't want her to, to be head over heels over something that's very simple and that we could have provided as family, as parents, and then they ruin their lives.
Yeah,
I've seen how a very small thing can just make, a lady lose her dignity because of a particular action that has been done by a guy. Because they haven't had the chance was growing up. So the onus is on us as a new generation that's gonna be the next dads, that's gonna be the next politicians, that's gonna be the next civic leaders. I'm talking to someone who has broken ground in media and
look at you.
I'm talking to someone who by 25 will hold a PhD. I'm looking at myself being, lecturing at the National Defense University back home or becoming a diplomat.
And the president.
Come on, those are ambitions. All right, but then this is what I'm saying. So I endeavor this society where we need to really up the game and change the narrative, and we really need to sit down and tell our parents that the way that you did this, we don't think, I don't feel like it was good for me. I could have become this, and you would have been proud as well. Yeah. We need not to force standards on people, but we need to identify a person's capabilities and be able to nurture it around.
There's no one child, no two child are the same. I learned that you can't use the same pattern for one child, but understand them distinctly.
Yesterday he was laughing at me and saying, what if and you and this person get married or get engaged and have a child?
What do you mean you are this white person? I mean, like you?
No, I'm mind that.
No, you have to come into what
I'm just explaining. So you are saying, fine, you have your wife and you have a kid, and they're at that stage, at secondary school, and they are in love with music, and he says, Dad, I don't want to do it. This, I don't want to do this thing. I want to explore music.
Yeah.
So I was like, no ways, they won't do that. But then we started laughing and saying, yeah, that's the narrative that we grew up with. For us in my culture, it would be in Shona, they would say that Magitari, which simply
in English, please.
Which simply translates to the arts do not give you, a place, and the arts do not have a future for you. You need to have your education. And for me, I was always taught, because I'd always, once or twice, I'd skip, my reading and go and play street football, and I'll be told that, imagine if you had broken your leg there, does that give you food in the next 20 years? No, you need to have your education first. This sport, you have sports for the rest of your life, but you need to have an education. So we really need
my dad this man will tell you
exactly.
When I started my media work, they were like, this is so nice, you're doing design, so what's your job? When are you gonna get a job? You can always do this thing later, you can always do it all the rest of your life, but get a job. I'm like, this is my job. Boys, the point is, to them, job is money.
Exactly. And going to work from 8 to 4.
9 to 5.
If you're in your room, in your system, you're not having a job.
So for them, I think in short, that's what I feel like we really need to change.
Let's hear from CJ. Tony, you've taken our time.
This man,
this is just your podcast. What? Oppression.
Respect them to Tony. Oh, is he gone?
No more talks for you. CJ.
No, I think it's a very transformative generation that we're kind of living in right now.
Yeah.
And what I can give credit to African parents, to say the least, they've given us strength, determination, work ethic,
that resilience and
tenacity, all those things they have built up.
True.
Regardless of whether we've hated them for it or not, later on, I'm telling you right now, we will thank them for that.
I'm thanking them already.
I am,
Because right now, we wouldn't be in the positions that we are right now if it wasn't for trying to have this validation towards them.
Yeah.
But in trying to have the validation to them, we formed our own work ethics, we formed our own independence, we formed our own, pathways ourselves.
Yeah.
And so,
True.
I think moving forward and how we're supposed to move as transformative leaders or parents or anything of the sort is just kind of relay back to that kind of mentality of pushing your kid to be strong. That's the most important thing that I can take out of being a child of an African parent is to be strong and continue to do what you need to do. And then it comes after, honestly. It comes right after that. Once you find your own path, all the values that they've taught you, all those times that you said, I hate them, all those times where you said, why am I doing this?
Smacking on your head.
All those smacks in the head have led us to this moment. So I'm very grateful for that, for sure.
I am too.
True. I definitely would not, you can't really take away our growth process away from, all those things we took from them. And taking that and just picking out what you feel valuable to you and moving on with what you think you want for yourself. So I'm just going to say, if you're someone out there who feels like right now you're in a situation where we've been, I feel like your parent hates you, you're a teenager and you're like running from home.
It's because they love you.
They actually love you. They might not show it to you.
Adore you.
I knew my dad was like, he was not a hard guy. So when he went all over Facebook and he was typing, I'm proud of you on my comment section, I'm like, what?
And then you're getting
like,
smacked up.
The point is, they're actually proud of you many times, but they don't want to show you because they feel like you will stop.
Yes.
You will stop doing your best. It's get to your head.
And you just be proud.
Yeah, just make sure that you understand where their intentions come from and just relate to them with empathy. And most likely, when you can show them that you have a direction for yourself, when you can show them to a point that you have taken responsibility for some of your actions, it might not be so perfect. You see that they begin to kind of reduce how much stress they put on you. Now, my dad's always asking me, what do you think? What do you think? Because I think he has gone to the point where I've seen that, okay, for every decision he made, he went through, he followed through. There was a success. So he understands what he wants for himself. So he's no longer like micromanaging me for years right now. Sometimes doesn't even know where I am. It's like, that guy is doing fine. You get it. So grow up, like just mature and become the best version of yourself. And yeah, don't forget to still be a child anyway. in those two ways. There are many others I could give, but the point is pick out what you think is valuable and reshaping something that works for you and just thrive from that place or whatever they're giving to you. And in the future, you can reconcile. You can talk about those things later. And I think for me is for young African people that are growing up, there's nothing wrong to be vulnerable as a parent. For parents that are related to, there's nothing wrong for you to be vulnerable to your children. For people growing up, there's nothing wrong in vulnerability and showing compassion and empathy and love to people, because Lord, trust me, it is the best thing you can do for yourself.
Yes, sure.
Not for anybody. It's very healthy for you to have good emotions. Because when you lock all those things, you just sometimes just have so many resentment, many triggers that you don't know that you've suppressed inside you. Someone else talks to you and you are angry, not because of what they said, because they trigger something else you remember in the past. And that's another discussion. Maybe I'll talk about trigger in one of my courses. But yeah, I'm tired of talking already, but it's been very interesting.
Very interesting.
It all comes back to like, I remember one of my lecturers said something when I said thank you for everything, and I've used it to like, maneuver through life. He said, don't count your achievements yet, but rather make your achievements count themselves.
That's the way we're going to do this podcast, guys. Deep. Thank you so much for joining us. I usually see us doing more African themed episodes. There are many things we could have unpacked. So many examples, and also I like giving applications and theories and also giving practical steps out of the way. But it was just a conversation, nothing deep, nothing so serious. So don't text me asking me that. We didn't address one particular thing. Probably in another episode, we'll kind of do that. But thank you, CJ and Tony, for joining this conversation.
Parents are supposed to be your best friends.
Yeah, they're supposed to be your best friends.
It's not supposed to be a transactional relationship.
These are like quotes, tweetable quotes you can put on Twitter. So anything that you find valuable, please can you tweet it at us. I'm going to put CJ and Tony's Twitter handles in the show notes so that you can connect with them. And yeah, you can reach out to somebody. You can find Zambia love or Zimbabwe love. Yeah. All right, guys.
So much.
Hey, welcome back. That was fun and very uplifting. Yeah, except for the fact that Tony was actually oppressing us. I don't think I'll bring him back to my show. It's my show! If you can relate with any of the things we discussed about, or you want to give your own example, please feel free to leave a comment or tweet at us, or you head on to abrahamologundudu.com/podcast to drop your comment, or you can just click on the link in the show note below. So what's our key takeaway? Just one. I'm just going to say that you may not have control over your environment or your circumstances, but you do have the power to choose how you respond. Yeah, that's my one key takeaway. You can connect with Tony at TM Sharma, that's TMSHOMA on Twitter, and you can connect with CJ at CEE_hell, that's C_hell on Twitter. Thank you for listening to this episode of Respectrum. If you find this very useful, please share the podcast or tell a friend about it, guys. Share the word, rate, subscribe, give a review, help my ministry, help my markets. And if you'd like to learn more about me, please follow me on Instagram at IamOAbraham. And always remember that together we are unstoppable. Hey, see you next time. Bye-bye.